Hello, I'm Bob Campbell and you're watching The Real Review. Today I'm talking to Sean Spratt, the proprietor and winemaker at Waiheke Winery, Destiny Bay.
Good day, Bob.
Hi,
Good
Sean.
to see you.
It's been a while.
Yeah. No, good to have you back.
Nice to see you.
Yeah. So I think we'll do a little walk through the winery.
Sounds good to me.
We'll maybe taste a couple things, then have a chat. Yeah, as you remember, this is all of our stuff here showing the our meticulous sorting process, of hand picking and everything that doesn't go in the wine. And as you can see, that's looking pretty good. But of course, we just got to get down there and go berry to berry because that's how we do things. And of course, once upon a time, it was just that's what it was when it all started. No vines, nothing, no vineyard, anything. I had to chase the cattle out and start planting grapes.
Oh, great.
So we head through. So we've just got a little bit of packaging going on and getting our stuff off for customers this year. But this is, as you might remember, this is where we do all of the hand plunging and vinification and cold soaks and all that good stuff. And once we're all through here and ready to make wine, we just send it on through down by gravity down here into the barrel hall. So we just blended the 2021 vintage. So we've got actually Destiny, Miste, and Magna Premia all pretty much ready to go. These wines are really interesting because it was such an early vintage. So you've got sort of ripe Cabernet without being overripe, so it's sort of under that in that more Bordeaux spectrum as opposed to really, really hot, California or Mediterranean in style.
Got a little bit of energy, a little bit of good acids.
Yeah, I think so.
Good color.
We're pretty happy with that. Color is definitely not a concern for either. Well, any of these vintages. Yeah, that'll be just for that.
I like it. That's delicious.
It's quite a lot. I get a lot of really nice sort of more blue spectrum, darker bluer fruits. And I think you get sort of a little more blackberries. We get into the other ones.
Yeah. It's certainly ripe, but as you say, not overripe. It's just got that energy. Hello, I'm Bob Campbell and you're watching The Real Review. Today I'm talking to Sean Spratt, the proprietor and winemaker at Waiheke Winery, Destiny Bay. Welcome, Sean, and congratulations on earning first place in our top Wineries of New Zealand 2021. That's quite an achievement.
Thanks, Bob. I really appreciate it, and thanks for the opportunity to come out here and talk to us. It was a pleasant surprise, and it was quite a little bit humbling for somebody who started in the vineyard business sort of 20 years ago. I still feel like I'm a little bit of a newbie at times, and we still sort of feel we forget that we've been doing this for so long. So. It seemed like we got there pretty quick, but it is a tremendous honor after all these years to get that kind of recognition and know that people are enjoying and care for the wine so much.
Well, from my point of view, it's well deserved. So that's great. Tell me how it all started. When did the light bulb moment happen? When you decided to get involved in the wine business.
Yeah, well, I'll try to make this a relatively brief story, but it wasn't exactly a linear path here to starting Destiny Bay. My parents emigrated and we first visited here in 1999. They chose to emigrate and no intention to start a vineyard or winery. My mother was a microbiologist and chemist. They had kind of had a little couple of grapes in the backyard. But they fell in love with Waiheke on a visit and decided to move here and bought the land now that you see as Destiny Bay, not with the intention of starting a vineyard, but as they kind of looked at it and saw that Waiheke was this burgeoning wine growing region, and made some pretty good wines from the likes of our fellow vintners. We thought, well, maybe we could, put a couple of vines in the backyard and have a little hobby vineyard. And of course, as you see now, it's gotten a little bit out of control. But the real, I think, aha moment for it was we had invited over Dr. David Jordan, who is one of New Zealand's top viticultural experts. I believe you know.
He's a neighbor of mine.
Yeah, that's right. So DJ, and we said, hey, can you come out and take a look at it and give us an idea? Is this a good place to grow grapes, a bad place to grow grapes? What are your thoughts? And David came back and said, yeah, it's not a good place. It's fantastic.
So you chose to be a red wine specialist, really, a Bordeaux red blend specialist?
Yeah, that's kind of well, we've always sort of feel like, it's good to be really focused on one thing. Sort of we wanted to stay away from the jack of all trades, master of none kind of thing, and really try to just focus on doing one thing and do it as well as we possibly could. The other reason is that having grown up in California, obviously I'm not a native New Zealander, we had a great love for some of the great Cabernet blends out of there. The one that actually inspired me from quite a young age was actually Ridge Montebello.
Oh, right. So what do you think is the most important aspect? I mean, is winemaking, viticulture, site?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to unpack all those things. I mean, you could, as Mike, my father and the founder, says, you could have everything be the same here and put a different team of people in here, and you'd probably still come up with a pretty different wine. So it is partly, the team and what our goals are, but at the end of the day, I think probably the most important thing is, in fact, this land, the terroir, as the French would say, because of these sort of unique circumstances that, we're north-facing, we've got clay soils, which gives the wines a lot of texture and makes them quite seductive, but, natural drainage, and of course that it's Waiheke Island.
Yeah. And technically you make, or routinely, you make just three wines. Can you talk me through the range?
We have 3 blends that we make. The first one is called Destiny. And Destiny is, for lack of a better term, it's like the fairy dust. It's the essence. It's that from which destiny is made. And so it is meant to be a little bit more right bank if we're talking about Bordeaux sort of cepage or composition. So quite a bit more Merlot. But more importantly, it's a snapshot of the whole vineyard and a vintage. The second wine we make is Mistay, and that wine is meant to be a little more of an enigmatic blend for us. So we're starting to get more towards the 50 to 60% Cabernet Sauvignon, but we're really kind of playing with how the Franc Merlot and Malbec and Petit Verdot play out in it. And then finally, there's the Magna Premia, which is Latin for great rewards. It's our flagship wine, as many would say, although I would argue they're all treated equally, so one is not lesser than the other, but as many people say, Cabernet is king, and when it comes to aging and ageability, this is the wine that probably offers to be the most interesting and rewarding and long-term cellaring.
So age, how do the wines age? Because they're not built to be glugged down in a year or two.
Yeah, I mean, they are. I guess one thing that I was told by a fellow winemaker is that balance is of course one of the great goals in winemaking. Is a wine should be balanced, and if you don't have that balance at the beginning, you may not ever get there. Great wine should be balanced almost right from the get-go. So from our standpoint, a lot of customers end up enjoying our wines quite young. We age them for about 3 years before we even release them. So they've already got some bottle age on them. But the wines have surprised even me as to how long they seem to be aging. I had a 2007 Destiny earlier this year, that I thought, well, maybe that wine would be starting to, on its, maybe it's off of its peak and making its gentle landing, and having tried it, I thought it was actually still getting better. So they seem to be exceeding even what I think my expectations would have been.
Now, the people, I know a number of people who are watching this this video will want to get hold of the wines. How can we get hold of the wines? Your Patrons Club.
Yeah, well, because these wines are very tediously and meticulously made, they are very expensive to make. And what we want to do is we'd love to make these wines for people who love to collect wines and cellar them and enjoy them, over maybe a range of years. So we look into what Bordeaux does with their En Primeur program. We sort of came up with the idea of a Patrons Club, which is a direct-to-consumer model. So you join the Patron Club, you pay for the wines in advance of their release. So you might pay for the, somewhere 6 to 12 months in advance of release. But the pricing that we offer to you is a special price. It's much lower than a retail pricing, so maybe similar to trade pricing, but you're committing to a minimum of 12 bottles. So it's a chance for you to get in early, to get some of these wines, be assured an allocation of them. But by helping us, because we have to spend money for so long before we can collect a dime, we get a little bit of revenue and keep everything rolling and going here, and you get the advantage of getting a case of wine at a very attractive price.
Don't think of it as an expense. Think of it as an investment. That's how I always justify it, and it certainly is. Sean, it's been great to hear your story today, and good luck with the vintage. The vines are looking very, very healthy.
Oh yeah.
So fingers crossed for 2022.
Oh yeah.
And once again, congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much, Bob. It's a pleasure.
If you have enjoyed this, subscribe to The Real Review.